Now, looking for the fish in question, if he just show himself. Now it's that red one over there with the lump on his tail. What's left of his tail, because he seems to have half of a tail now. The problem being that he won't. That has been like that for quite some time. I think that it's carp pox. Fish is healthy, has been healthy, has had this problem for several years. But recently enough, there he is, lost the tip of his tail, and I found it in the filter. And I think I've seen other fish pick at it, and I think that maybe one of the bigger fish might have pulled the top of his tail off, and it hasn't grown back. And I think the reason why it hasn't grown back is because the carp pox is actually covering the wound and sealing over the top of the tail lobe, so it's not able to grow through the carp pox. Now, I've seen some ulcers in pictures that look like that. I don't think it's an ulcer, I think that it's carp pox, because there's another fish in there that has carp pox. In fact, that big yellow koi coming towards me right now, he used to have carp pox years ago, and he lost it completely. It completely left him, or her, I think it's a she, left her, and she's perfectly okay now. But there is another fish in there, one of the little small ones, which didn't have carp pox, never did, and then since being in this pond seems to have picked it up. And if I can get it to come over, you might see it, because it's actually a lump of it on its back just above the head. There's our friend coming back to us here again now, and here's the fish I was talking about, right in front of us, little red and white black fella there, swimming away now. He has a lump of it on his head. There he is over there. You can't see him from here unless he comes back, but that's the fish we're talking about. So he has carp pox. There he goes. So all things considered, it's highly likely that it's carp pox that has always been the problem that's on that red and white kohaku kind of style fish. Not that one there, but the other one coming him there, the bigger one. So question is, what can I do about it? Can I do anything about it? If I can, what do I do? Incidentally, most of these fish are old enough. They may look like young fish, but that's only because they never got the proper growth treatment that they should have gotten. That big yellow koi swimming along the two big fellas there, he would probably be about six years old, and he only grew big in the last year. He was always the biggest fish I had, but that's because they were all runts. But he's grown, he's doubled, maybe even tripled in size in the last year. And then if you compare it to the other video, he's as big as they are now. He's certainly fatter and broader than they are. Don't know if it comes across well on the video. Here's our friend with the carp pox on his back. And there's our other friend here. If you'll stay still for a moment. So anyway, they're growing now, and hopefully I'll get a bit more growth out of them, even though they'll probably never be giants. I will get some more growth out of them. So there's another pond I've just built out the back garden there now, but being winter I haven't put any of these fish in. Planning to take the bigger ones, put the bigger ones into the new pond, which will allow the smaller fellas to get a larger share of the food, because this big fat one here, not this one, believe it or not, it's actually the yellow one, eats most of the food and is a hog and is fearless. And here's our friend here now, same age, have the same amount of time as this big yellow fish here. There's a tench swimming along the back there. He helps to hoover up some of the filth in the waters, the other crumbs the other fellas leave behind. All the fish are looking a little pale due to no sunlight, I think. I've seen them with brighter colours. but because they're covered over here completely in the dark, because this fella's letting us actually see them now. So this red fella, this silver koi here, looks a bit like a bass. He's going out. So is a big yellow fella. He's going out into the new pond. In fact, most of them are. A couple of small ones are going to be staying in here, and hopefully I can get a bit of growth out of them. I think I'm going to keep our old friend over here, this red and white fella, in here for longer, because I think it's the only way this carp pox will ever go, with a bit of heat. And here's our tench. He's just doing a runner. So if anyone has any opinions on how I can get rid of this carp pox off of this fish, which seems persistent. I've had this temperature up in here up to 25 degrees. I've had it up to like that for about 3 weeks, in the hope that it would shift the carp pox, and it did slightly go down. And I mean, when I say slightly, I mean slightly. And when it did come back, it came back with a vengeance. It came back worse than it was before I started heating them up to 25 degrees. So hopefully I can do something about it. And if anybody has any suggestions as regards using scalpels or whatever it is you're supposed to do, if you can try and improve the situation, because I'd like to see that fish grow its tail back. That's the ultimate goal, would be to see if maybe that lobe could get that lobe to grow back on that fish. I mean, none of these fish in here are showstoppers. They're all only grunts or mongrels or whatever it is what term you want to use for them. But they're my fish. I love them and they're healthy, and I've been doing a good job so far in keeping them alive. He's one of my originals as well, and about 6 years old. So, anyone has any ideas, please don't feel free to give me an opinion. Thank you.